Hey there, welcome back to day 2 of the Uplevel Your Cooking 5-day challenge. Hopefully you're able to take 5 minutes and practice getting all of your supplies out and ready for a more stress-free and peaceful dinner. So today's theme is one I live by in our kitchen: cook once, eat twice. This is my favorite strategy to save time, energy, and cleanup. So all while making sure we still get homemade meals on the table, which is the most important thing. If you're like me, your days are full and you don't always have time to start from scratch every single time. So let's make your beef work double duty. Here's a secret weapon: ground beef. Have plenty on hand, and I will say it and say it again. It's hands down the most versatile cut. And I'm not kidding when I say I go through 4 to 6 pounds a week with a family of 5. So I always want to have plenty of ground beef ready and available. So today we're going to put that to good use with a double batch strategy. We're making a delicious and super easy recipe: Korean beef bowls. They're fast, flavorful, and heat like a dream. So here's how we're doubling down today. We're browning up 2 pounds of ground beef, 1 pound for today's recipe, and 1 pound to set aside for a meal later this week. I'll give you a fun idea for that in a minute. So we're making extra rice as well. Double up your favorite variety. I like jasmine rice, and that's what I'm using today, or short grain white rice for this recipe. But use what your family loves. You'll thank yourself later when all you have to do is reheat it. So, and just a tip, if you've never tried freezing rice before, do it. Portion it out into containers or Ziploc bags. And once it's cooled, put that in the Ziploc bags or your containers, and it reheats beautifully in the microwave or stovetop with just a splash of water. So today it's about assembling those Korean beef bowls. A scoop of rice, that sweet and savory beef, some quick sauteed veggies or even shredded carrots and cucumbers for a crunch, and top it with green onions, sesame seeds, maybe drizzle of sriracha or yum yum sauce if your crew likes a little heat. So, and just like that, dinner's done. So then tomorrow or later in the week, you've already got cooked ground beef and rice ready to roll. And maybe for that extra ground beef I just talked about earlier, and along with that extra rice, you can make it for stuffed bell peppers, burrito bowls, or even hearty beef and veggie soup. So you'll be all set. And today's motto again: make it once, cook twice, and maybe even 3 times if you play your cards right. All right, let's get cooking. Okay, for these Korean beef bowls, I'm going to make the sauce up first. I know I have it on the recipe book, cooking up the ground beef first, but I'm going to start with the sauce, and I'm just going to combine all the ingredients for the sauce together rather than do it individually with the ground beef. For the sake of this video, I decided to change it up a little bit here. So we're going to start with 3 cloves of garlic minced. So I got my garlic presser. I'm going to move this over so you can see that. So 1/4 cup of soy sauce, but for the sake of, for myself, I switched it up. I swapped out the soy sauce with coconut aminos. I'm doing keto, so this is another option if you need to switch out that ingredient. So 1/4 cup soy sauce or coconut aminos. And then next, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I'm going to switch that one out again with a sweetener, a keto-friendly sweetener. So, but the same amount, 2 tablespoons. All right, put that over here so you can see even better. 1 teaspoon of ginger root grated. So I'm just using my microplane. All right. 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. Got the right one. There we go. And got a little bit of pepper flakes here. I'm just going to put just a little bit in there. That. And stir that up. See that? All right, we've got that mixed up. This is ready to go. Next, I'm going to work on the ground beef. Okay, so we're going to work on the ground beef. Two pounds of ground beef. You're going to cook once, eat twice. All right. So I'm just going to use my spoon. I have a ground beef masher too, so both of those work good to get this broken up. And then once we get the ground beef browned up, I'm going to set half of it aside. And then we'll add our sauce to it. Over here, I have a pan that I'm going to make the jasmine rice in. Obviously, use the directions from your own package. So I'll make that up too here in a little bit, according to their directions. All right, I've got the ground beef browned up. I portioned out a half of it to use for another meal this week. And I really have to drain our ground beef because it's about 90% lean. So I'm not going to worry about draining the beef. So that kind of makes it convenient. So I'm going to add the sauce and simmer for about 2 to 3 minutes. Mix that around. There you go. I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes, and then that will be ready. All right, we've got the rice cooked up, a double batch of that. So we can use that with the recipe or for another recipe with the ground beef I set aside earlier. So I'm going to grab the beef we cooked up for this recipe and add this to the bowl. Okay. Then I'm just going to garnish it with some green onions and some sesame seeds. So there you have it, Korean beef bowls. So easy to make, especially on a busy night when you don't have as much time. And then doing the cook once, eat twice, you have another, you have more stuff to use up throughout the week so you can still make a homemade meal from scratch without having to take so much time out of your day. So this is a great option for that. And it is so good and delicious. So I'm going to make for myself, I'm going to make some cauliflower rice with this for keto, but the rest of my family can have the rice. So, and if you're making any of these meals this week for the 5-day challenge, send me a photo at info@strandquistfamilyfarm.com or tag me on Instagram or Facebook at Strandquist Family Farm. I love seeing people's recipes and using our beef for that. So that would be great. So anyways, I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. We're going to go live on Wednesday at 12 o'clock. So I hope to see you then. Thank you so much.